Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this meeting arranged to address the concerns of homeowners and management companies that engage in short-term rentals in Rancho Mirage. We so appreciate you attending, and we realize this is a very formal room, but we're going to try to make this as casual a meeting as possible. I have a number of people to introduce you to. With us today is Mayor Ira Smotrich. Welcome, Madam Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Dana Hobart. Welcome, sir. Our city attorney is with us, Steve Quintanilla. And also with us is Cindy Goslin. Cindy is our contracted vacation rental enforcement officer. And then Sandra Johnson is in the room with us here. Sandra is the code compliance manager for the city. Pamela Berkey, the code compliance officer that addresses vacation rentals, is with us. My name is Robert Barrett, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for the city. I'm responsible for overseeing the Vacation Rental Enforcement Ordinance. The group that has been introduced are the key participants in the development of the Vacation Rental Ordinance and its amendment twice, the establishment of related fees and fines, and the enforcement of the ordinance. Not present are representatives from the hotline and from the Sheriff's Department that are very engaged with us in this process. A little history. Over 4 years ago, it became apparent that most neighborhood disturbances were occurring at short-term vacation rental homes in Rancho Mirage. Coachella Fest introduced the Palm Springs region to a whole new generation of visitors. Research resulted in us learning that close to 400 homes were being used for short-term vacation rentals. As the city relies on transient occupancy tax for approximately 1/3 of its annual operating budget, you can imagine the reaction when we discovered the largest lodging property in our city was in effect the combined rooms of the vacation rental properties. You can also imagine the hoteliers' response when they discovered this fact and immediately demanded that the playing field be leveled and that the large segment of homeowners who were managing large lodging properties without rules or paying transient occupancy tax to the city be made to do so. Neighborhood associations were also demanding action due to escalating disturbances. Your city council's highest priorities are ensuring safety and the maintenance of the quality of life of the residents of our city. One incidence of a neighborhood disturbance is taken as seriously as your council knows that Rancho Mirage homeowners selected us over the competitive set to purchase property here for our tranquil lifestyle and excellently administered city government. However, your council also respects the rights of homeowners and recognized 4 years ago that only by renting their property, often second homes, were many homeowners able to avoid foreclosure. So a number of questions as we begin this discussion that I want you to ponder and think about from the council's perspective. I want to share with you a number of statements, and here they are. If our hotels prohibit swimming in their swimming pools after 10 p.m. so that hotel guests can enjoy a peaceful night, why do you think the city, neighborhood associations, and the neighbors of rental properties should tolerate loud swimming parties late at night at rental properties? If a hotel guest plays the CD or the television in their room at a level that disturbs the guest in the next room and security is called, the guest that is playing music eventually may be asked to vacate that room. This is standard lodging property procedure worldwide. So why do you think our council should allow music by a guest in a neighborhood to disturb the tranquility of the residents' lives? If almost all, and in the entire valley for that matter, the reported disturbances in our city and in the entire valley are related to young people at vacation rentals, I'm sure you can imagine why your council has raised the age limit for the responsible party from 25 years of age to 30. Now I want to tell you that for all the homeowners that cannot be here, we've notified them, those that are snowbirds and living elsewhere in the world, that this meeting is being filmed and streamed, and they are watching it presently with you. We will commence this meeting by statement by our Mayor Pro Tem, who is the chair of the Marketing, Tourism, and Special Events Subcommittee that has always addressed this issue first. So Dana Hobart will conduct this discussion. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand, come up to the podium and speak in this microphone, and please state your name and the city in which you reside, and then feel free to say anything that you want to say to the council in the discussion. The council is very interested in your input, so don't hesitate to speak. So, Mayor Pro Tem Hobart, with that, may I turn it over to you?
Thank you very much, Robert. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad to see a fairly robust turnout. We know that others will be watching this on television and streaming live, I guess. I'd like to find out, just see what the balance is here. How many of you are here who do not rent out your homes? Okay, I'm seeing one hand go up. And how many of you are here who do rent out your homes in Rancho Mirage? Okay, we've got a nice representation here. Looks like about 8 or 10 people. I ask that because I want to see if there are two sides to be asking questions from and alternating back and forth, and the answer to that is no. We're having this meeting today because of the confusion that exists over the issues that our ordinance appears to have created. We're here today to try to have people understand the city's perspective and for the city to understand the owners who rent out their homes' perspective. We begin on the council, if the decision of the council is an example of it, and based on what was expressed at the time the ordinance was passed, we begin with the proposition that we are having businesses conducted in residential communities, areas zoned residential. That generally means we have businesses conducted in areas that expect peace and quiet. We didn't write those rules. We didn't create that dichotomy. It is the natural order of things. The idea that we're trying to promulgate is the idea of living together harmoniously, rather than, as some cities propose and some have done, ban these businesses altogether in the city, which is an option. Our hope has been, however, that we could find a balance that works adequately, if not perfectly, for all concerned. We don't want your business to cause a barrage of complaints to the city because of your customers who reside in your homes on a temporary basis. We want you to be able to conduct this business. We know that many of you depend on the income that you get from your businesses, home rental business on a vacation basis. But we do have to find a balance, and I doubt seriously if any of you disagrees with that objective for the city. Some of you, how many of you who rent your homes live in the city of Rancho Mirage yourselves? And that looks like about maybe half or so, a little over half, of the people who are vacation home renters. Be assured that what we're looking for is to have both sides coexist with as much harmony as possible. And that's what our ordinance has attempted to present. We understand, and I expect that you'll be talking about it, we understand that the 30-year age requirement for responsible party is something that is of significance to you. And I can assure you that if our ordinance works as we hope it will work, that is, to the satisfaction of the residents of Rancho Mirage, that if it works to their satisfaction, meaning ours as well, we don't have to live with the age 30. We will voluntarily, without urging, reduce it a year or two to age 28 or 29. Test that for a period of time and see if that works, to try to find the balance. We understand what the issue is. When we have a requirement that somebody in the group of renters has to be age 30 or more, we understand that that may pose a difficulty if you are somebody who is renting your house to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are all under the age of 30. But you also have to understand, as we do, that the younger the group, anecdotally, the evidence is that the more the neighbors are not satisfied with the sounds emanating, usually the sounds, traffic sometimes, emanating from next door. So we are not fixed forever on age 30, but we have to start somewhere that, even though it imposes somewhat of a problem for you, it's not a problem that is going to mean life or death to your business, unless you only rent to teenagers and early 20ers, in which case you're probably more often part of the problem than any solution to that problem. Because the fact is, the younger the group, the rowdier the group, and there's no getting away from that. Somebody asked at the meeting we had when we passed the ordinance, the amendment to the ordinance, they asked, what is our evidence? Did you conduct any studies about who creates more noise? And we were candid at the time. No, we didn't conduct any evidence. But most of us have a lifetime of experience. Most of us have raised children. I've raised 4. I think I have a pretty good insight into the younger person's mind. I still think I'm in my 20s, at least until I look in the mirror, and then realize that I don't even recognize the person I'm looking at, because that's not a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old that I may think that I am. So we're not being arbitrary, we're being experimentary. Now, with all of that, let's find out some of your thoughts and how you think we can operate better, how you think you can operate better. We would like your suggestions to each other, because some of you probably have no problem at all, although I suspect that the vacation renters who have no problem at all are the ones who are not here. By the way, how many of you are agents as compared to actual homeowners in the city? Ooh, I see a lot of hands there. And those of you who are agents are extremely important to us in the resolution of the various issues that arise through this program. One final comment. As you know, in Indian Wells, they're having considerable difficulty coming to a conclusion with respect to how they're going to approach this issue. I can tell you that banning it altogether seems to be the majority position right now. Those of you who are agents can either verify or refute what I'm saying, but I listen to their city council meetings, and I know there's a great deal of movement toward just banning them altogether so that the residents can have the peace and quiet that they thought they were going to have when they spent X $100,000 for their property, which ain't a bad argument. So we, on this council, are trying to find a way to pigeonhole a business within this community without isolating our residents. Keep in mind, politicians are constantly referred to as being just pawns in the wind to whatever the public wants. If you get a big blow at you, then they go with the wind, they go the way it's been blown. If this council were as political as that, you wouldn't be here, there wouldn't be this meeting, and we wouldn't have the ordinance that we have. We would just say ban it, because 95% of the people in Rancho Mirage probably would prefer it being banned. And they are hoping that if we don't ban it, we at least find the way forward. And that's what we're trying to do. And I urge you to keep that in mind. We are going contrary to the flow of the water in any residential community, such as in Rancho Mirage, where people pay a pretty hefty sum for peace and quiet. Okay, with that said, whoever would like to speak, please come up to the podium, give us your name and tell us whether you're an agent or an owner in the city, and give us your thoughts.
Good morning. My name is Joaquin Murguia. I'm the controller for Vacation Rentals of the Desert. We have approximately 80 properties, I think, that we manage here in the city of Rancho Mirage. First, I'd like to thank you for putting on this meeting so that we can clarify these issues. That said, it would have been nice if we would have had a similar meeting prior to the amendments to the ordinance so that these issues could have been discussed beforehand.
Politicians are not perfect, remember that.
I understand, but perhaps we could have avoided some of the confusion, especially with the issue about the 30-year age limitation. As a business, obviously, that's our primary concern. We've gone to great lengths to try and comply with all the city ordinances. In discussing our company's output with the compliance department, we have had little, if any, complaints with the properties that we manage. Because we are so ardent about screening the guests that we place into the properties because, well, frankly, we used to live in Rancho Las Palmas Country Club, and of course that's one of the dominant vacation rental properties and most popular in the city of Rancho Mirage, so we know what it's like to have vacation rentals next door to us, and especially when an owner is absent or isn't paying attention to what their vacation rentals or what their renters are doing. That said, our primary concern has been the 30-year age limitation and whether or not we as a business are opening ourselves up to any sort of age discrimination. And the example I will give is a personal one. I have a brother-in-law who's 29 and his wife is 27. He wants to come out for a vacation prior to his redeployment to Afghanistan. Now, normally, I would have him sign the vacation rental contract as the responsible party, but as I understand it, either my wife or I will have to sign that vacation rental contract and be present at the property while he is here. So I need clarification on that. That's on a personal note. As far as the vacation rental ordinance itself, I understand the need for one. I appreciate there's some limitations on because, as we all know, things can get out of hand, but I also understand that sometimes if you squeeze too hard, things will slip through your fingers. And the example that I would give of that is the city of Carmel by the Sea. They have banned vacation rentals, short-term vacation rentals outright. However, if you go on VRBO, there are over 400 short-term vacation rentals listed on that site. Unfortunately, because they've been banned, there is no compliance happening because people are doing it anyway. And at least with an ordinance, there's a mechanism by which those can be addressed. As a vacation rental management company, we're concerned that if there's a problem renter, that we be contacted as the ordinance requires and that we be allowed to address that issue. I have found through my own research that the number of complaints that the city of Rancho Mirage received over the past year has been approximately 40, of which a number of those were from the same property. We would like to work with the city of Rancho Mirage to shut down those kind of properties that are being a constant source of irritation, because frankly, short-term vacational rentals are 25% of our business. And if we were to lose that, that would have a severe impact on how we do business here. So, I'm glad to hear that, the city is amenable to having these sorts of meetings and these sorts of discussions. I would encourage that, as this moves forward, I've expressed in an email to Mr. Barrett that we would be willing to help on, a vacation rental committee or something that helps discuss these issues, that helps identify problem properties, that helps, work with other owners to make sure that they're in compliance. Because let's face it, if you're you're not always able to choose your neighbors, but as a vacation rental management company, we have the opportunity to choose neighbors for people. I'm also a former resident of Santo Tomas on the Lake, which is one of Rancho Mirage's higher end properties. And I lived there for 2 years, and I had a neighbor who was a permanent resident there that was an awful neighbor. They did not subscribe to the trash collection service.
I think he moved next door to you after he left next door to me.
Right, but we had to call public health because he never took out his trash. We had a wall of trash. He was constantly throwing things over the fence at our yard. I had bail agents at my door at 2 in the morning trying to find the person. So you can't pick your renters, that's for sure, whether it's a long-term or a short-term. But I think the idea here is not to be punitive, but to manage, as you suggested, these vacation rentals. So that's what I would encourage the city to continue to do and to work with us to help you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I should make the comment, go ahead. I should make the comment, try to keep your remarks, if you can, to 3 minutes or less. If you can't, I'm not going to shut you off, but so that we get as many people that want to speak the opportunity to speak. Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name's Michael McLean. I'm the CEO and owner of McLean Company Rentals, and I, like Mr. Hobart, think I'm 30, 40 years old until I look in the mirror. I'm a masochist. My wife and I started our business 30 years ago this month. So I'm still here, still in the vacation rental business, involved. We have properties in every city, including Rancho Mirage. I may disagree with some of my colleagues today. I don't have a problem philosophically with the age change of 30. Truthfully, we, as a company, we've had a policy since day one that the minimum age to rent through my company has been 25. And again, 25, 26, 27, 29, I mean, where is the magic marker there? The city of Palm Springs we recently altered our ordinance there. I was involved, and they bumped it up from 21 to 25. So the argument of where the right number is, and you were open-minded enough to realize, hey, if down the road we're going to make it 28 or 29, I don't think, truthfully, there's a magic number there. I understand the philosophy. I understand what you're trying to do here. Robert called me when this was being floated, and again, I informed him as I'm informing you. I don't have any problem with that, and I don't see any impact, truthfully, on vacation rentals here in Rancho Mirage. I will address, however, the splinter groups that are encouraging doing away with vacation rentals entirely. Again, the ordinance that is in place here in Rancho Mirage is sound. You have some great leadership behind it. Robert Barrett, Cindy Gosselin is great. She spends every day chasing down people that are in non-compliance. But as Joaquin said, there is mechanism in place. There's rules and regulations that you can enforce. If you throw out vacation rentals, if you made vacation rentals illegal, all you are going to do is drive people underground, and you're going to have the wild, wild west here with absolutely no way to enforce it. So I encourage you to work with this vacation rental, work with the hotline, give it time. It is working. I know we as professional managers work diligently to maintain the tranquility of the neighborhoods while generating money for the owners and, by the way, for the city of Rancho Mirage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next. Yes, sir. There's one fellow back there, Bob.
Hello. Hi, Scott Shandstrom, private homeowner, run a couple of vacation rentals in Rancho Mirage. From my perspective, and again, just managing my own, the age requirement actually is helpful because I felt like I was kind of hanging out there on my own on putting an age restriction on there. I came up with 25 also, and am really okay with being told that it has to be 30. I've looked at my guests that, and it's a lot of return guests that are coming to my homes, but they're all over 30 and are coming for peace and quiet, and that's how I market the properties, and I do it through VRBO also. So the age restriction actually helps me put it on the contract because I did, as I said, feel like I was kind of hanging out there with age restrictions, just arbitrary, and now I've got something to look at. The biggest challenge that I have that I'll share with is Coachella, and I end up locking the houses down a lot of times in April because I have lived in the area in Rancho Mirage, and I have a lot of respect for, and that's why I bought homes there, was for the peace and quiet. And that is a time period that's very hard to manage because I can't count on my guests there that are going to basically behave themselves. And I've had lots of incidences where I've said, I've had to step away from literally accepting business during April. So if there was something, and I feel very supported by Cindy Goslin and in working through some of that and actually some problem solving with that, because I would like to have the houses full for that, but not with the party atmosphere that comes. And I've had everything from tents in the front yard that I've had to shoo away to people parking on the street because they knew their pals had rented the house. So that is that's my biggest challenge, not the age piece. And it would be it is my livelihood in large part to be able to rent those houses as vacation rentals. So that would be difficult financially, but also to restrict the time requirements to 30 days or more is difficult, especially within the confines of the California tenant laws, and then moving into long-term rentals is tough. So yes, thank you for the time.
Well, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hi, John Berkey, and I thank you for allowing this forum for us. I am a resident here in Rancho Mirage. I also have a rental property here. I think I'm on year 5 now of doing it. And I totally understand we have to find a balance. Everybody deserves a nice, peaceful neighborhood in Rancho Mirage. And I just want to share a trick because I've had great success with this trick, and so much focus right now is being put on age. I don't think I've had more than one renter under 30. I do not have any age restriction on my website, but I market to a higher level customer. I raise the price. I get real classy snowbirds. A lot of them are here for golf, BNP Paribas. They don't mind paying more. I deliver a product that is worth that extra money, and I make sure that my neighbors feel respected by these people. Quite often, they come back and they've got friends from our community that they met the last trip out. So by raising the price, I get a higher quality tenant. I provide friendship and camaraderie for the neighbors in the community, and I have not had one issue with any complaint, and I hope to continue that.
Mr. Berkey, a question.
Sure.
When you market your property, do you indicate in it your own idea of minimum age, or do you do it in some other fashion?
No, I don't mention age. I mention golf, resort-style living, and I can give you the number and you can check out the wording, but I try to price it high and expect to get that client that might want to use the club and go golfing or the tennis, and I provide access to that. But I think it's who we choose to put in there, not necessarily the age.
Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Anybody else like to comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kate Sandman. I'm a homeowner in Rancho Mirage.
Did you say Kay Sanborn?
Kate Sandman?
Pull that microphone down just a little bit so it gets some effectiveness for you.
Okay, sure. So my name is Kate Sandman. I'm a homeowner, full-time homeowner, as well as a vacation rental owner here in Rancho Mirage. And I did attend the meeting, you may recall previously, when this was discussed. It was a city council meeting several months ago, and I expressed, some of my dismay at the provisions. Having had only one complaint about my property, and it was about balloons. Since I've been renting for 5 years. Balloons? Yeah, it was a big problem, the balloons floating. I'm joking. So essentially, I've never had a complaint about my property. And so it's very hard to hear, that there is viewed to be some issue with them. What I would like to say is that Mr. Murguia from Vacation Rentals of the Desert raised a very welcome point, and that is that, there are many of us who are renting our properties with no issues, whether we have superior managers or we're managing them ourselves, or luck of the draw, or pricing it so no one can afford it, except, whatever it is, that, there are mechanisms that each individual has to have a successful property in the vacation rental business. So I think that if the city were to draw a bit more on our expertise and alert us of the issues that are arising, we may be able to help in, providing some, some solutions or some thoughts around that. Because based on what we've heard, the vast majority of the properties here are not an issue. And so we'd like to ensure that there's a, an attitude of mutual respect, where those of us who are doing a great job and paying our TOT and building awareness of Rancho Mirage and having our guests say, I want to buy a house there now because we've loved it, that there is respect for that. We love it here. We have 2 houses here because we love it. So, so any opportunity to be more participatory in how the city administers this and in troubleshooting would be welcome.
Thank you very much. Would anybody else like to comment? Well, let me say before we adjourn the meeting, first off, Robert, is there anything you'd like to say in summary?
I would like to make one comment.
If I know you, one only means opening the door.
I think this has been an excellent discussion. Thank you very much for attending today.
I'm not sure your mic is working.
I think this has been an excellent discussion. Thank you very much for attending today. Some very good ideas have come forward. You should know that when the RM magazine is sent out in January, it'll be polybagged with the RM Insider, a parking permit for all residents, and a refrigerator tag that will have the hotline on it. At that moment, we probably can expect to receive more calls to the hotline than to the sheriff. There has been a continuation of calls to the sheriff because they don't know about the hotline. So the number 40, which we're very proud that we only have 40 calls, and maybe it's a little more than 40 as we progress in this year, but it probably will increase somewhat. And you should know that we're making a very big effort to help our community residents understand what they can do when they have activity next door that's disturbing the quality of their lifestyle. So with that, Mayor Pro Tem Hobart, I have no other comments, but I think some very good comments were made here today, and maybe we can follow through with some of them. Yes, please, Jim, come up here. This is my most senior advisor.
Hi, my name's Jim Pierce. I'm the owner and general manager of Fairway Vacation Rentals, and I'm the only guy here who's been doing it longer than Mike McLean. So we manage about 150 units in Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage, La Quinta, Indian Wells, surrounding areas. I think Robert took the initiative initially and ended up with a great ordinance, and he really was very inviting of our input in that process, so I appreciate that. I personally am okay with the 30-year age restriction. I have properties in other communities that I can move people to, but in general, 30 is not an obstacle anyway. Just a couple comments and a question or two. I always like to step forward when somebody is focused on Coachella. We actually do a tremendous amount of business at Coachella. We have for years. We take a number of additional steps to screen our renters at that time. We do a tremendous amount of repeat and referral business. It is very, very responsible. We meet and greet these people year after year, and I can assure you that most of them are older than you might expect, and if they are younger, they look like your kids or mine, and they're young professionals, they're affluent, they're thankfully, ours at least, leave the party at the grounds and are responsible renters. So Coachella should not bear a special stigma. Now, my question for Robert, if you have any statistics, was how much has the count of registered vacation rental properties gone up since the initiation of the ordinance? And do you have any statistics as to what the enhanced transient occupancy tax associated with that might be? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce.
Our first year of registering properties, we were in the 400s. But many of the homeowners that registered first have decided that they would prefer not to be engaged in short-term rentals and have moved into long-term rentals. So now the number's around 355. So we've seen a shift. Also, the economy changed and people's attitudes about their financing and their problems with their homes have changed. So I think we're at a level of about 355. Sometimes it'll creep up to 375, but it's sort of in that area. This last year, the TOT exceeded $400,000. And we appreciate that. That's a very good thing. Here at City Hall, most of our revenue comes in very large amounts. And so I'm sort of like the retail guy of the city selling $500 increments to the city. But we're very proud of that because it helps, of course, continue the beautiful maintenance of this city and our programs and services that are so well renowned. Did I answer your question, Jim? Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Just one point I would make. As we go forward, listening to some of the things that you all have said should create in our minds some ideas. For example, Mr. Mondia? Mejia? Mondia. Mr. Mondia made a comment about a young man, 27 years old, ready to go off to Afghanistan or wherever. It does occur to me that that our committee and staff should look into the potential. Can we make exceptions under certain circumstances where application for approval can be made independently and separately? Because there's certainly no reason that we're concerned with why that young man one person or man and a wife and a small child. If there's no history and no record of a problem, perhaps our staff would be able to take applications for such special dispensation. That thought is one that popped into my mind after you mentioned that, and there are a couple of other thoughts that I've had. But I think that if we consider this ordinance a living document, it's one that can be molded to best suit as many people as possible, the city and all of us. And we will continue to work toward that objective. I would like to thank you all very much for taking the time to be here today, whether it's your business or your other interests that bring you here. It doesn't matter. Your information is what we operate on, and your encouragement is very much appreciated, and we will stay in touch with you. I agree that we should have had this function, this meeting, type of a meeting, in advance of our prior meeting where we passed the ordinance, but we didn't. But we've learned from it, and we're trying to make up for those things, because the whole idea is to keep Rancho Mirage our personal Shangri-Las, and that's all we're after. And we want it, which benefits those of you who have the business of renting, and it benefits those of us who do not but who live here. So again, thank you, and I'm sure we'll see each other before too very long. Thank you.